know. Are you in the closet? Dorian, what were you doing in there? This boy got locked in the closet. I thought they were both out. I hate having that door open in the background in videos, but they always want to go in the closet. All right, today we're in for just like a super fun video. I cannot wait for this. So Caitlin from The Love Librarian and Victoria from Victoria Romance Reads reached out to a bunch of booktubers and were like, hey, what do you guys all think of doing this like massive collaboration on a video, doing like this or that romance book edition? Okay, so I had filmed this video prior to us switching it to like a tag-like style, and also for some reason my freeze frame isn't working, so enjoy this picture of Dorian and Arya here. So I was tagged by Victoria, Caitlin, and Jen, and now I am tagging Jess from Honest Fiction and Christy from Christy Reads a Lot for them to do the next take on this video. Some of these are really tricky. I like looked over the list, but I haven't like in-depth thought about them yet, so that way they can be like, you know, in the moment kind of deal. But I'm really excited to see what some people answer for these. So yeah, we got a bit of a list, so let's jump in. First up on the list is Cliffhangers or A Happily Ever After. And I think in a series, obviously Cliffhanger, okay? Like I want them to be in peril by the end of a book leading into the next book. Like I can think of the Off Balance series by Lucia Franco. Those end on amazing cliffhangers. Where like the Crossfire series by Sylvia Day, that does not end on cliffhangers each book, and I don't like that as much. So I think I'm gonna go with Cliffhanger. I think I am. I like to kind of like put myself through it a little bit. And I also don't need like a huge happily ever after. I love a happily ever after, and obviously I love getting that guarantee in romance books, but I don't need like a flushed out happily ever after. Even if it's just like implied that they're happy, I'm good. Next up, hardcover or paperback. Hardcover is better for book collections, I will say, because it holds up better, but like reading, you can't beat a paperback. Like paperbacks are so much better to read, like to hold in your hand than a hardcover. Like I hate reading like the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Like those books are just like so thick to hold and just heavy. So I'm gonna go with paperback. And also like most romance books come in paperbacks. I feel like authors more so lately have been starting to do like hardcover special editions, which I love, but I do think that paperbacks it is. Next up, this is easy, angsty or cutie. Angsty all the fucking way. I don't need any cuteness in my books. I need all the angst. Give it to me. I'm not a cutesy kind of person. As you can tell by pretty much everything that I read, I'm not in it for the cute factor. So 1000% angsty. And this one again is another easy one. Emotional or rom-com. Emotional, baby. Make me feel something. I don't like rom-coms. I've read like very few that I genuinely like. Currently reading one right now, which I am liking it a lot actually. It is a reverse harem though, so I think like that's kind of helping it a little bit. But overall, I'm just not the biggest fan of rom-coms. I like watching them, like I love romantic comedy movies, but in books, no. So emotional all the way. And if you make me cry, bonus points for you. I feel like if a book makes me cry, you're like probably getting a 4 or 5 star from me. Okay, next, standalones or series. So I'm gonna go with series. I love standalones, I really do, because especially when I'm like in a bit of a slump and I'm looking like, what do I want to jump into next? Sometimes I don't want to commit to like a series if it's so long or like so many books, you know. I totally get that that's like overwhelming, especially for a lot of other people too, but I love spending so much time in a world and with characters that I love, that series like pull it away for me. I love, especially if a series follows the same couple over the course of multiple books, like the Wolf Hotel series by K.A. Tucker, Off Balance by Lucia Franco, Crossfire by Sylvia Day. After Series by Anna Todd was the first ever romance book that I ever read, first ever romance series, and I loved following that couple for 5 books. So I love that. I also love standalones like within a series, you know, when they're like companion books, because as long as I get to stay in the world, like the Twisted series by Anna Huang, and you get to see like the other characters popping up, and it just like, you get such a sense of like giddiness almost when those characters pop up. Like I'm thinking of Nightfall by Penelope Douglas, the last book in the Devil's Night series. I had so many like heartwarming moments when it's not a heartwarming book, but I felt that way because of like seeing all of our favorite characters come back. And yeah, just for sure series. BookTok or Bookstagram. I don't know. I personally enjoy posting on, I don't know. I really suck at taking pictures, like aesthetic pictures, but I love looking at everyone's. So I love that aspect of Bookstagram, but I really like a lot of like BookTok videos, but I would say I don't necessarily take as many recommendations off of either, I guess. I get the most of my recommendations off of BookTube. And Bookstagram, I feel like I don't always get like the best sense of books. I don't know. I feel like BookTube is like where I get all of my recs from, but I do enjoy looking at the posts on both. I guess maybe like as a whole, BookTok has a lot of drama, which I know there's just like a lot of drama everywhere, but like drama makes me very anxious. So I'd say like I don't get much anxiety whenever I'm on Bookstagram, so I'll go with Bookstagram. Okay, people or objects on covers. So I have a bone to pick with TikTok on this one, because if y'all take away people on covers in general, I'm gonna be so pissed. I do really like people on covers, actually. Okay, so I will say, I don't like certain people on covers. When it's just like an ab shot of a dude from like here down, it's like, what's artistic about that? You know, obviously, except for the time that man puts in at the gym. Like, I don't like just straight up abs on my covers, but I do really love people covers. Like, I love the men versions from the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I also like the discreet ones of those too, but I do prefer the men out of those series. I love the Fallen Men books from Gianna Darling. I love both the male and female versions of those. I think both of those are stunning. Like, I do like people, but I also think there are examples of like bad people on covers, like the Him and Us duet by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Like, I think those, not the vibe. Also, like the Follow-Away series couples by Penelope Douglas. I know that obviously they didn't have control over those covers because those were traditionally published, but I think those covers are kind of bad, and those are all people covers. So I would say overall, I tend to lean towards people because I don't know, I tend to like those more. And some of, I feel like the discreet covers, I'm like, this gives off nothing. It's giving me nothing. Where like, at least with the people, it gives me a little something. So I don't know, I guess I'm gonna go with people, but I do love that there are like options, because I totally understand that not every single person wants people on their covers, so I do like that there are options. I just also think that it's kind of like getting a little out of hand at times, but you know, whatever. I guess if there's a cover for everyone, that's great. New releases or backlist, I'm gonna go backlist. I hate being pressured into reading something. I hate when I'm told that I have to read something and that it's like I'm required to read something. I don't like it. I just like being able to read whatever I want to read whenever I feel like reading it. With new releases, like obviously there are authors that I read, like anytime Penelope Douglas releases something, I'm dropping everything and reading that release. The last book in the Twisted series by Anna Huang, dropped everything, read that. There are certain new releases that come out that it's like I'm highly anticipating and I will read right away. But I just don't like the pressure of when everyone is reading it, and I feel like if I don't read it now, like I'm gonna miss out. I hate all of that. I like when I can just like look up a backlist, kind of like meander my way through, pick whatever is jumping out to me at the time. I'm such a mood reader that I don't like all the pressure that always comes with all of the new releases and like the buzz around new releases. So I'm gonna go with backlist. And then I guess this one kind of rolls over to the next one, TBR or free for all. Free for all, 100%. I do TBRs every month, but those are like just my priority reads, because I was finding, I didn't do TBRs last year, but I was finding that there were so many books that I had like highly been wanting to read, like really high up on my list. And then I got reading other things, as a mood reader does, and then I completely forgot about them. And then all of a sudden it was like months later and I completely forgot that I really wanted to read this book, but it just like fell to the back of my mind. So I started doing priority TBRs just so that way I can track what my priority reads are for every month. And also then it's easy for me to look back. Like I keep them in a notebook and then I can flip back and be like, okay, what haven't I read yet that I really did want to read, and see if like any of that is reoccurring again. I'm free for all, but I do create like priority read TBRs. But do I ever hold myself to a TBR? Hell no. Now this one, if you're at my channel here, I pride myself on recommending books for you. And you know when you come here and if I recommend a book to you, that it is not going to be any fade to black shit. Open Door or Fade to Black, you best believe. I don't think I have ever recommended a book that is fade to black, that I've advertised as a romance. There are like YA fantasy books that I've talked about that I've loved and stuff, or like a memoir, or like obviously that doesn't have like smut in it. But if you're coming here for a romance book, you are getting Open Door. I don't recommend Fade to Black. I don't read Fade to Black. So Open door all the way, okay? It's important for a relationship. Like, it's important for a relationship in real life. It's important for a relationship in books. It's important to me, okay? So you will never have to worry about getting a faded black romance recommendation from me. There are certain books that I read that obviously are like a lot spicier than others, but every single book that I read and recommend at least has like 1 or 2 like smut scenes in it. Like, I'm thinking Crash Course by Alyssa Wilde. I would not like advertise that as a smutty book, but there is like at least 1 or 2 scenes like at the end of the book. Like, yes, it's a slow burn, you work for it, but you do get there eventually. Here at Oh Hey It's McKay, we're not about faded black. Nope. Should make like a t-shirt, or like that should be like a tagline, like a company. You know how like a company has taglines? I feel like that should be mine. Okay, audiobooks or ebook/physical books. Ebook/physical books for me. I really wish I could read audiobooks, because I know that's how like so many people read so much and like they get just a whole new experience with a book from an audiobook. But I have such a hard time listening to something and like it like going into my brain and making sense of it. I'm a very visual person, and I need to like be sitting there physically reading it word for word on the page, where if I'm listening to it, I find myself tuning out. I find myself like my brain just wandering. It just doesn't work for me. I do want to try the graphic audio for ACOTAR, because I know that that's like more like movie-esque. So I do want to give that a shot at some point. Maybe like when I'm going to reread the series for like what, the 4th time. Maybe I'll try it on that way. Okay, Kindle or not. Kindle 100%. I love my Kindle. I could not live without my Kindle. And I think because too, for me, it makes sense that I have one and that I always have Kindle Unlimited, because as you know here, I read like 99.9% indie romances. I very, very, very rarely ever read traditionally published books. So the vast majority of everything that I read is on KU, with like minus a few exceptions like Sierra Simone and such, that obviously then I just buy their books. But all of my books pretty much that I read are on Kindle Unlimited. So I need my Kindle. I take it like everywhere with me. Next, matte or glossy in regards to like covers. And okay, here's the thing. I love how glossy covers look in person, and I just like the look of them in person. But here's the thing, when I'm holding them up in videos or when I'm taking pictures of them for Instagram, the matte works a lot better because it doesn't have any sort of like reflection on it. And I just think, I hate when you can see like finger smudges on matte books, but also I guess you can see that on glossy too. So I would go with matte, preferably. Yeah, even thinking about it though, even thinking about like glossy, no, it is matte all the way. It is matte, but I do have some glossy books that I do like. Okay, buddy read or fly solo. So again, I don't know, because I've done buddy reads with some of my friends and I love doing that and it's very fun and I like that we're like experiencing the same thing at the same time with each other. However, as I've noted in this video already, I am a mood reader and I don't like being forced to read something when I don't want to read it. So I haven't had an instance where I've buddy read anything with someone where I haven't wanted to read it. So far, I've always buddy read like new releases that were coming out, that it was like, okay, we like want to read these. Like, I buddy read with Nikki a lot from Nikki and Bookland. Like, her and we've buddy read like The Words together and Twisted Lies, which were both like 2 brand new releases, which we both wanted to read already. And then we were planning on reading when they came out. So we're like, why don't we just buddy read them together already? That I prefer. I've also buddy read with my friend Amanda over on Instagram. Like, we buddy read Ecstasy. And like, again, I was just like in the mood for that book. But I'd say I probably would say, even though I enjoy that, I would say for the majority of the time flying solo, just because I don't like feeling like I'm letting anyone down if I'm not reading fast enough or if I'm like not really liking the book. I don't like that pressure of that. So I'm gonna go with flying solo. Next up, small town or dark romance. I feel like y'all should know this one. Boop. Small town. Hello, dark romance. Dark romance all the way. I don't like small town. I know like a lot of people are getting into it lately and that's great. I'm so happy for them. That small town romance is like doing it for them. I have no interest in small town romance, like literally none. I've read a couple, certain of them, they've been fine. One of them I really love, like The Confidence of Wildflowers by Macaulay Smelter, is technically small town. That I personally didn't care about like the small town aspect in that because I liked the rest of the story. But dark romance all the way. I love dark romance. I read predominantly dark romance, I would say. I'd say probably like 70 to 80% of my reading is dark romance or like falls in the darker category. New adult or adult? This one's tough. I don't know. I really love new adult. I do think that there will come a time when I'll maybe like age out of that a little bit, but I do really love new adult. And then when I think like I love student teacher, and it's like, is that classified as adult or new adult? Because a lot of those then like the students are in college. So a lot of the times it's like one of the characters is like new adult, one of the characters is adult. I don't know. I feel like I like both. I don't know if I can pick. I mean, I know I'm supposed to. Everything I read is like taboo, so then it's like, is that like just more adult? Okay, maybe I'll just go adult, even though I read like a lot of age gap, a lot of taboo shit, but I guess probably adult for that one. Okay, we're getting down to the end here. Okay, sprint read or marathon read a series. Marathon read, I very rarely ever pick up a series and read them like back to back to back. That's happened like very few times. That did happen just recently with me, but I'd say it is like pretty rare. Normally I pick up a series, I start it, and if I enjoy it, I normally like keep on going, but I do read other books as I'm going. Like I very rarely just like devote all of my time and attention to that singular series. Now, Alpha or Sweet Hero? Once again, boop, bye Sweet Hero, hello Alpha. I mean, are we surprised? Obviously in real life, I would love to meet a nice sweet man, but in my books, I want him to be absolutely possessive, overly jealous, touch her and I'll kill you. I will literally skin a man, cut his hand off, pour whiskey on it, all that jazz for his heroine. So, Alpha, 1000%. Read multiple books at once or one at a time, multiple books at once. At all times, I'm pretty much always reading a book on my Kindle and a physical book, but then a lot of times I'll have like multiple books going on my Kindle at one time. So like right now, I'm currently reading 2 Kindle books and 1 paperback book. So I always like to have different things because like during the day a lot when I'm like sitting out on my couch, I do like to read, you know, like a physical book. But then when I'm laying in bed at night, like before bed, I want to read on my Kindle because it's just like easier. Now this one is really hard because I do really fall like right in the middle. So Baddie or damsel in distress heroine. Here's the thing. I love a damsel in distress moment, and I love when he gets to come to her rescue. Oh, like I'm a hoe for that. But when I think about all of my favorite heroines, they are all badass women. And yes, sometimes they can be in a moment where they do need someone's help, but I do think I have to go with like a baddie, like a badass heroine. I think of like Aelin from Throne of Glass, Lana from the Mindfuck series, Seraphina from Twisted Pride. Like all of those women get put in situations of peril and they always are able to get themselves out of it and know that they'll be okay. And last one is slow burn or insta love. 1000% slow burn. I really don't like insta love. And I think that's why novellas don't typically work for me, is because they do have to obviously develop at a much quicker pace. And I just love the slow burn. I love the tension. I love the like blue balls that you get when it's like they're close to kissing and they like get interrupted, or they're like just getting on the same page and then they have something that takes them apart. Like it's just, I love everything about a slow burn. So 1000% slow burn for me. All like when I think of all my favorite books, like the vast majority of them are slow burn romances. So yeah, that is it for today, and I will see you when I see you.